What's going on? What's going on, party people? It's your boy, driving the well. Another day, another dollar. Another day, another dollar. Another day in the books. The National Convention, or the RNC, as they name it, is over. It's a great RNC. I've never actually watched one, but tonight's was. I think it really brought people together. Trump was just talking about real topics, talking about what he's going to do. It wasn't divisive. It wasn't bad in any way. And I think it held a lot of weight. It, it did a lot of good compared to the last campaign. And I definitely didn't vote for him last time. So I think it was very it was something new. I think there was a new outlook on life. He was definitely charged with being better. And I think he did his shit tonight. So I think he powered through it. He was able to make some powerful statements. We got talks of Joe Biden dropping out of the race. So who knows? We don't know who's gonna replace that spot. But I mean, there's a couple candidates that could take the spot. I don't know. We're not hoping that even goes through. 'Cause, it's just a lot of messy stuff over there on the Democrat side. So shit, I hope everybody had a good day, man. Took the day off. I did not want to work. There was that. A lot of drama on the YouTube today. A lot of drama. I tried to avoid it as much as I could. I was dodging bullets left and right. But the best way to dodge bullets on YouTube, I found, is just not address the situation. Don't address people who be talking about you, because at one time they're gonna address you and they're keeping your name relevant. What's up, Scott? How you doing, man? How you doing, man? I hope all is well, dude. I hope all is well, dude. But yeah, like going back to it, I think, I'm not gonna address people, that trying to call me out. I mean, they could say my name all they want, but all all actuality, they're just keeping my name alive, keep my channel relevant. And that's what I like to hear. Dig. Ain't to you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Crazy couple of days, man. Crazy couple of days. It is what it is. We're not gonna talk about it. We just gonna be about it. So I ain't got no ill intent on nobody. You know what I mean? But I wish them people the best. And I hope they, keep it pushing, keep it moving, keep it thriving. Say their name and they will appear like the candy man. Oh, bro, I know, bro. If I said any of those people's names that was on last night's live, they would be here in a heartbeat. It's like they're watching my channel, but they're not watching my channel. So low key, they got some kind of device that they're not subscribed to me, but they're watching me low key. They're watching if I take any heavy shots, if I take any, you know, say a little bit too much. They coming for my neck. They're trying to assassinate my character. I think it's funny. I think a lot of funny, a lot of funny stuff goes on. But honestly, it's like high school stuff. Like at this point, like, dude, you said this about me, and like, bro, people are gonna talk crap about you in life, and you either choose to take, let it affect you, or you choose to move on. And a lot of people just don't. They don't understand. It's like it's not that serious. You're not gonna do anything to me. I'm not gonna do anything to you. We're never gonna meet. We're thousands of miles away. It's not that serious, bro. Like what why beef with people on the internet? I mean, like, but but I think over the past couple of days I did find some really good channels, some wholesome people that were willing to embrace BTW. And I'm gonna say one, shout out Dashing see, Dashing Trader. I was on his live for a little bit today, and he gave me a lot of respect, you know, and he told me some kind words. He said, keep up the live streams, just go heavy, keep doing it. If people aren't watching, they will be watching. Just stay consistent. And that's kind of what I was needing, because I was like, yeah, like, should I just even do this? But yes, I will get you the link, Scott. There you are, Scott. But shout out to last night. Like we went from the worst stream ever to actually like a great stream at the end. Like it was so much better at the end with Wordplay, my co-host. So shout out to that man. Scott Hall.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, my brother?
Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the video. Hit the like, subscribe. Shout out Wordplay.
Yeah.
How is
Shout out to Wordplay.
how you feeling today after last night was great. I wasn't expecting last night to be popping.
I mean, last night was. I mean, it was a bad like first half, and then like it was like like the second half, like we just like we ran the ball all the way to the goalpost. So like it kind of turned out better.
You had a
But what
couple
I know,
cool visitors. Why variety of visitors? Nice show.
yeah, no, I mean definitely, and I noticed that like looking through my analytics, like that when Wordplay shows up, people not only want to see me, but they do want to see like a guest on the channel, so a co-host. So I think it brings in more value to the show.
So did you watch the RNC today?
I did. I watched it, like not the whole thing, but like when Trump started talking, I was very intrigued because he looked like he was shook up in the situation, which I mean any person would be, in that position, but it almost seemed like a different Trump.
He was doing his thing. I seen my boy Dana White was there. He announced him in.
Yeah. Shout out to that man, but like he seemed like it was a whole different energy tonight. Like it was like it wasn't so divisive. It wasn't like, like let me not like, I'm not gonna push buttons of other people. I'm not gonna like talk about the Democrats. Like, you know what I mean? He was just like very focused and like he was like very direct on this is what I want to happen. This is what needs to happen. And like it was so cool. It was like so inspiring. There's like parts where I was very touched, you know what I mean? Like I literally some parts, like I held back tears. You know what I mean? Because it was just like, damn, bro, like he is really like he got shook to his core and came back.
Well, that's good. That's what we need right now. We need someone that's strong and just keeps getting shot at and hit by the media from all sides and getting thrown in court. And look at, he's still here, still doing his thing, resilient as hell. So that's what we need right now.
Yeah, yeah. So are you a Trump supporter, or like are you like what? I don't know what your political
I'm
affiliation
definitely
is.
I'm definitely not a Biden supporter. I can't really be supporting the liberals right now. I'm more open minded, so I can't really say. But right now, Trump is definitely is better in my eyes right now.
Okay. So you were kind of on the fence, what I'm understanding, and then like you kind of just said we can't have Biden.
Well,
We
it's
need.
hard. It's hard because this is the way I kind of view it. Trump is a genius at business, and he's charismatic, and he's smart, and he's good at making deals, and he's a hustler. Like he has all those things, but I don't know how well he knows history and world politics. I don't know how well, if he knows how well like the Chinese government runs and all like the ins and outs of like the world. I don't know if he knows all that. His team might, but I don't know. Now Joe Biden, I don't think it's him. I think he has a team behind Joe Biden because he's too old to be thinking all this bullcrap, right? So Joe
Yeah.
Biden, he isn't as good as Trump in the business and all that stuff, but he's been in the game since he was young, so he's a better politician than Trump. So that was before all this happened. But once Trump got shot at and he came back like this, yeah, I think I'm going to vote for him for sure. Definitely, I can't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for Biden the first time. I can't vote for him now. Ain't no way. Democrats are crazy right now.
Yeah, see, and I'll admit it. I'll admit it here on YouTube. I was conned into voting for Joe Biden. Like my family's all lifelong Democrats, and so I was kind of leaned into like voting for Sleepy Joe, and then like as soon as like shit started rolling, I was like, oh my god, like what are we doing? Like why did I make this decision? You know what I mean? So
And to be honest, there's no one in the Democratic Party I can say I like right now. I hate Pelosi, whatever her name is, that female. I hate her. I hate
I'm,
AOC. I hate all of them. Really, I don't like any Democrats right now. So, and there's Republicans that I can respect. There's that part.
well, I think the over like the term of like between Obama to Trump, I think the Democratic Party like really transformed into like this radical like section of like just like weirdness. Like it was like it stood for something like different before, and then it like turned into this like this level of like like we have to support like all this shit that like doesn't matter but like will get us votes. And so it really like changed the whole that demographic of like the Democratic Party, because I feel like Democrats were like pretty like reasonable people before. They had like reasonable like ideas about you know things going on in the country, and then kind of switched to where like they went to like all the way to the left to where like they can't come back. And then like there was this like shift, this dynamic shift of like the Republican Party, like turning almost like, because like back in the day, like the Republican Party was very strong on like a lot of issues. And so I feel like the Democratic Party like turned very like soft, and then the Republican Party like became the new Democratic Party, if that makes
I
sense.
I just think the Democrats got better at politician. And I don't know what the hell happened. Like Obama was cool, I think, back in the day. Like, I think it was the last time I liked the Democrat. Maybe I was too young to even kind of know, but Obama seemed
Yeah.
cool. But then they just kind of went heavy left with all this. As soon as all this gender stuff became an issue, that's when everything kind of went haywire.
I agree.
Because that's where like a big fight is right now, and that's what's making the two parties like clash a lot because they're heavily invested. Right, both sides is heavily invested in their viewpoint, so it's hard for them to budge or hear any counterpoints because they get all mad.
Yeah.
But simple things like that is just weighing us down. It's like a cancer right now, trying to figure out those issues when they shouldn't even be an issue. They weren't an issue 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed, but like there's been a lot more democratic radicalism now, where like 20 years ago, like it was like unheard of to have like a radical idea from a Democrat, to where now like we're like the Democratic Party is kind of getting exposed to where like their radical ideas are bringing out like these like one-off like lone star like shooter type people that are like doing these crazy acts of violence, to where it's like almost like it's now getting exposed to where like these people like you thought that like the Democratic was like this wholesome like good like family oriented like crowd, to now like there's these like transgender like people that are like committing like heinous acts on like events and things like that. Like it's really turned into like its own radical kind of party.
Yeah, it's just
Which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like who would know that like like I mean it's not talked about in the news, but like I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, but like a let me be careful how I say it. Like a classified protected class could commit a mass shooting, and then like the news doesn't cover it, but like they kind of cover it, but like gloss over it type shit. So
well, it seems like the Democrats own the media right now, at least the television media. You can go on YouTube and find like independent channels, but if you go on television, there's like one conservative network, and the rest are like kind of Democratic, I think.
well, that like kind of brings me into my next point. Like, did you know like back in the like the 90s and like the 80s that there was like influence that they would push like CIA people, or I don't know if it was CIA or FBI, but they would have like actual agents in the news stations to narrate the stories to make sure that the government was looking good. And so they would have like these like agents like be actual reporters, and so that they could control the narrative of the stories and kind of control the narrative of America. And now it's kind of become like a lot more prevalent, to where it's like just like an open book. Like you kind of know now that like there's some kind of deep state action going on in uh, these news stations. And to where it's like now like it's kind of like the deep state has like kind of taken over um all kind of like controlled media, especially since we like got into like the like out of the cable news and got into like actual like streaming, to where like people are a lot more free to express their opinions. I think that the actual like big news stations are kind of failing, and people are realizing like the hypocrisy of just how infiltrated these news stations are, and like um how it's being controlled so much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they all got an agenda to push, and they're all very biased in one way. So they just keep leaning that way. absolutely, and absolutely, they America controls its people. There's there's military units who go over to Iraq, and their whole mission is just to gain like they would just fly over Iraq and drop pamphlets off to warn that the soldiers were coming and to treat them good, like a week or two before we like would go inside. And when we went inside, they would treat us good because of the pamphlets. So there's whole units that just control the whole psychological aspect of people in war too. It's called psyops, psychological operations. It's a small, it's a select like smaller unit in the army, but they're there. And yeah, they influence motives, reasoning, and the behavior of people, of foreign powers, of governments, of organizations. So when we went over to Iraq and Afghanistan, there was a whole other secret mission going on, winning over the hearts. They called it winning over the hearts and minds of those people over there. So if we did it over there, definitely America's doing it to its own people. Definitely, if there's a bunch of influence going on in everything that we receive, from the internet to media to television, all of it's been filtered most likely, or is owned by some government agency through like a shell corporation at the very end of the day or something. For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, they learned that shit from the Germans. They learned so much after World War II, after we captured the scientists, because that's what the Germans were doing to their people. They had their people so brainwashed that they were praising killing a whole species of people, the Jews. You know what I mean? Like they were doing heavy influencing back in their day through the media and through newspapers. And we just picked up all their scientists and we just learned all that stuff too, along with other stuff.
But not only that, though, like we kind of learned some of that from the Russian government, you know,
Yeah,
because
absolutely. That's what I meant. Yeah.
to this day, the Russian government is completely reliant on the government to control their news. And so, like, what better way to control the people is to, you know, control the narrative. And so everything that comes out in Russia is controlled media, to where that what they're saying, like, I think people have woken up in Russia, but at the same time, like a lot of people who are like old school Russian citizens truly believe what they're, you know, what the media says, because they're just so drained from, you know, from the breakup of the Soviet Union, to where they're ready to, like, you know, believe anything that they say. And so it
and you got to remember, we're built different. Every 4 years we have a election, and then a whole different party can come in and change things up. So think about it like this. Over there they have one dude, that's Putin, who's been in power forever, right? So there's been no change. Like there hasn't been any change of thought for a long time over there. With us, every 4 years we have an election and we vote, and it's always rebuilding. It's like we start building for 4 to 8 years with a Democrat, and then a Republican comes in, and then they start building something completely different, right? Not leading up, not building on top of, but like doing a whole different stuff. And then the Democrats will come in and then spend some time reckoning what the Republicans did and build their stuff up, and then it's constantly like restarting. But with other countries like China and Japan, Russia, they all have their leaders don't change really. So the same plan goes for a long time. So they give them a lot more progress on things too, especially their people. So that's why their people is so like they listen to their government so well, because their government doesn't change. It's just one person for so long that they just get so used to it. It's just life. They just listen to them. It's crazy.
Yeah,
huh?
it's definitely like a dictatorship, you know, compared to us, where we have like access to free speech and access to different types of media, to where like we can actually garnish new information and make an opinion, or an informed opinion about what's going on in our country. Whereas like other countries, like they don't have that freedom, or they do have that freedom in some capacity, but they'll be locked up or persecuted for even being caught with that kind of rhetoric, or knowing that kind of rhetoric, to where like they'll be jailed and silenced and, even assassinated, so these are like real topics, like, that we have the luxury in the United States that we can actually have the access to things that other countries don't, like the persecution of information is very strong in other countries.
Yeah, and that's where there's pros and cons of things, because like you said, you can't do nothing. I think in Iran there was this rapper who went viral for like supporting like gays, and I think they like threw him in jail. Right? Yeah, like over here you can make a song saying fuck George Bush and nothing will happen to you. You'll be cool. But you go to other countries and you support gays, which isn't even close to like telling something to the president, and like they'll come get you. If you're like a journalist and telling the truth, like they'll come get you. Over in other countries, like you'll be in jail. Putin will come get you if he doesn't like what you're saying about him in his newspapers that he's been running for 20 years. But over here, no, we got freedom. So it's pros and cons, right? So that's what this it's like a test for against governments, which one works better, a long running monarchy or changing out every 4 years, letting the people vote and see what government's better. And there's pros and cons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like, see, me coming from a different country, like I can appreciate the whole system that we live under. It's such a beautiful thing, to where like I grew up in the Baltic states, where we didn't have those freedoms that we have here, so literally like when I was like a small kid, I remember the Soviet Union the Soviet Union collapsing, to where like at the end, when we kind of like dropped away from Russia, there was a big fallout because there was no monetary system. And with no monetary system, like nobody knows how to run a country, because we've been, basically on the tit of Russia for so long. So, the monetary system collapses. And so with that, nobody knows like who's in charge. And with that, you have nationwide just Fathom, or did I say that right? Fathom. And basically, I remember going. Yeah, I remember going to the grocery store with my real mom, and I remember it was one of my first childhood memories. And we're going to the grocery store, and there's literally not bread on the shelves at the grocery store. Like people are fighting over who's going to get that piece of bread on the shelf, because it was the last one. And so so when you talk about like freedom and like privilege and things of that nature, these are things that we all take for granted, because I remember the shit in my country that we had to deal with. Granted, I was very young and I don't remember everything, but it wasn't the police that were controlling the streets. It was the military. So like, if you said something wrong, or you did something wrong, or you made a gesture or some type of behavior that was looked frowned upon, it wasn't the police that were going to go throw you in jail because of what you said. It was the military that was going to shoot you dead in the street and say, no, you're wrong, and now you're dead. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're very free. We're a very powerful country over here. We're the first capitalist country in the world. We're the first. I think we're probably the. I don't think we're the first democracy. There's probably one before us. Maybe Athens was democracy. I'm not sure, but I think we're definitely the first like major capitalist nation in the world. So we're powerful, luckily. So we don't have to deal with all that. We have good social systems in place. I mean, we have public transportation. We have everything. We have city governments, state governments, federal government set up. We have a mail system. We have working sewage. We have working water. Like this country is really built, and it's young. Whereas if you go to France or Europe, like all those countries are built, but they're all old and breaking down, like made of bricks from like way back when. So yeah,
Exactly.
we're a very powerful country, and we have very good social health. That's what really makes us strong is we take care of our people, which allows our people to take care of our government. It's a hand in hand situation. Because people come through hard times, and if the government can't help them get out of hard times, then they can't help the government get out of hard times. It's really a hand in hand business with the government and the people. So yeah, if your people aren't getting right, if your people are fighting for bread, there's nothing they can do for the government. They can't even get food in their belly. It's terrible. I would hate to go through that, and a lot of countries do go through that. We just gotta be
Yeah.
thankful it's not us.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, I think we're almost kind of like on the brink of like the same thing as like a what's happening in other countries. You know what I mean? Like we're at the forefront of people not being able to, like afford necessities that they need to. They need to cut back on their spending. They need to cut back on. They need to decide whether they're going to buy, bread or they're going to get eggs for next week. And I mean, you got to think about it. Like the average American, like like we're not really that well off. Most Americans don't even have $1,000 to for a emergency. And so in
Yeah,
4 years, like a lot has happened to where the average person is uh one paycheck from being homeless. And that's a scary thing. That's a very, very scary thing.
yes, it is, and we get a lot of progress with Democrats, man. Democrats always boost our food stamps. They gave us like a deal on electricity, and they gave us a deal on internet for the past, I think, like 2 to 4 years. They're always giving us those social programs, and it's always scary because Republicans come in. Sometimes they always look at those programs and cut them. So that's always scary because, like you said, people are having a hard time right now. If you come in and start cutting food stamps and stuff, it's rough
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Because some people, like the thought is, yeah, some people do abuse the system, but there's people that do need the system. So you gotta look at those people. You can't look at the abusers. You gotta look at the people that actually need it. So that's
But
yeah, that's hard.
I do think that the system is designed for failure though. If you think about it though. You know, um,
Uh,
I've been on food stamps. I mean, like as of like like recently. You know what I mean? Um, but I think it's a broken system, and I'll tell you why. I think too many people rely on a system that if if you can go broke and just live by your means, then the government will have your back, and that you can just you know s- skate your way by and kind of just be a part of uh, be a part of America with the bare minimum and get through and just live paycheck to paycheck, because I know plenty of people who get on food stamps or housing assistance and things like that, and because how the structure of that system works, it doesn't incentivize you to work. So if you make over a certain dollar amount, now those benefits get taken away from you for a certain amount. So you're always like, I mean, granted, if you're a smart person, you're gonna make your way out of that system. But some people just use the system. And they're like, okay, well, I'm so comfortable with getting like these food stamps or these, Section 8, that they're literally trained their mind after so long that why should I like earn a dollar more and then get kicked off the system and then go and struggle and have to, you know, get to the next level when, you know, the government is providing these systems for me. And so it creates this mindset that we can, you know, live off the government and be content to some point, but we can only make some kind of certain dollar amount. And so, you know, especially in poor neighborhoods, you know, I've traveled the world or not traveled the world, I should say, traveled the United States, and I've been to a lot of poor areas, and a lot of the mentality is, you know, like, why would I want to get a better job when, you know, everything is being provided through the government, and then, you know, I can just backdoor the system and be like, okay, well, I can sell drugs on the side. I can, you know, I can start a legal business, and I can, you know, not pay my taxes because, you know, why pay my taxes when the government is, you know, knows that I'm poor, you know? So it becomes this like vicious cycle of people just not like abusing the system, but there's no incentive for them to get better. And so I feel like those programs that they put in place that were introduced long ago need to be revamped, and there needs to be some kind of structure to where, you know, like, okay, like, we're giving you government assistance, but let's put you in a classroom setting. Like, if you're struggling, let's get you out of that struggle. Let's teach you a skill. Let's get you somewhere. Let's get you out of this cycle so you're not depending on the government, and let's make you make more money. Let's find you a skill that you're good at so that we can get you out of this uh, mindset and get you doing something good to where that you are making the money that you love, and you can get out of that setting. And I think that's why that program is failing in America, you know.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That will lead some to do that. But when it comes down to it, it's the person's choice and their environment and where they were raised and how they were raised, and all that plays a part into that thinking. It's just not the government handing out assistance, but you do make a valid point to where if you make someone's life easy, why would they want to go work and have a hard life and not make barely anything more than it? The government doesn't set the business prices. We have a free market, so it's not regulated really. There's regulations, but it's competitive, so they don't control none of that. And we to counter that, I'm not countering it. I'm not arguing with you. There's definitely people that take that system like that. The system was intended for mothers, first off, single mothers,
Yep.
and then in turn, mothers wanted to become single to get it, so it pushed the fathers out of the house, and then
Yep.
the kids were with the mothers, and then that caused a whole situation with no fathers, and that's a whole other thing that we're not going to talk about. But that's what it was made for. But it's still here today, doing different things, which I don't think is a problem, but that's definitely an issue that happened that we didn't see coming. But it also raised us out of the recession. It got us out of the recession, got the economy back booming, got people eating, got kids money to go to school. It got other things going, but there's pros and cons to everything. And our country, it provides a lot of free college for people who are underprivileged. If you've been to jail, there's programs that get you into community college for free, and there's counselors there that go over different things you can become. You can go to trade school, become an electrician, or you can learn to become someone who just types all day or whatever. But you gotta use those programs, right? They can't hold your hand. But definitely there is a we do have a problem with that. But every society has that class, that poorer class that just kind of hangs out, and a lot of it is based on skills. It comes down to environment and what skills they got and what education level they are. Because if you're underprivileged and you're ditching school when you're young, and then you grow up and you can't read or write, who's going to hire you? Well, what are you going to do? Break concrete? So it's a whole jumble mess of issues. But yeah, it doesn't help that we gave them free handouts. But there's also different ways to look at it too. Those free handouts got us out of recession for a bit. They got us back booming.
But also, I think it comes down to generational, like being generational, because like what if you're passing down these values from generation to generation, then there's always going to be a ghetto in America, right? So like if generationally you're just handing and teaching how to play the system, people are going to keep playing the system because it's easy. You know what I mean? And
yeah, true.
so it's like it's a hard problem to solve, and it's definitely not going to be solved overnight. And a lot of people are going to be pissed off when people are trying to solve the problem of like how do I say it nicely? Like kind of like gaming the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that game the system. The rich people game the tax system all the time. Poor people game the system the best they can to get free stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like I know this lady, back in New Mexico, and she had she had a kid, she had a husband. Husband was abusive. He was a drug addict. Whatever. They broke up. He had a job. Didn't like the job, but then like because she was getting benefit from the government, or she was able to, it in turn turned her mindset. And this is a white lady, by the way. Like if anybody's watching,
race
trying to,
doesn't have nothing to do with it.
but she literally took that and ran with it. You know what I mean? And so she got, I think, married in her 30s, and then got divorced in her late 30s, and then decided that like life was too hard and that she needed to just not work. And if she did work, she didn't want to work because now she has a newfound fear of working, because she's afraid to adapt to society. And like like how do I budget like my paycheck to buy food and necessities and clothing, and like, and so I feel like and she was a single mother, like we talked about earlier. And so like like you fall into these habits, and then you fall into the system to where like, okay, like you want to be on food stamps for couple months, but then like 5 years roll around and you're like, damn, like I'm still on food stamps. And then like you feel like 5 years of your life has passed by, and you have nothing to show for it. And then you just like and then you get depression, and then you get like these mental ailments and things like that. And so it just falls into a vicious cycle. So I don't know where I was going with that, but
No, you're true. That happens to people. Absolutely. Shout out to Taj Coffee. Hit that like. How you doing, Mister?
I think Taj Coffee is
ETW.
I think
Sorry.
Taj is Maverick, if I'm not mistaken.
We got a good topic for you guys tonight. You ready for this one? Driving to Wealth.
What's up?
So, rap was created to fill the jail systems. I'm going to explain it to you.
All right.
Okay. So, there's like two rap labels. One of them is Universal. Okay. Universal owns Drake. So Drake owns everything pretty much, right? And they own a bunch of rappers. And that owner is a Jewish guy. He is from what's in war right now? Sorry, Israel. He's from Israel. He's a Jew from Israel. And he has a bunch of private prison that he owns, and he owns stock in private prisons.
Oh wow.
It's not even that. This dude's boss, right? The Jew. We're gonna call him the tall Jew. Is what we're gonna call him. The tall Jew who owns Universal Music is owned by a huge logistics company out in Europe. And that logistics company is owned by a bank in Africa.
Wow.
So from Drake to his boss is this Jew guy who owns Universal Music, and then who's owned by a logistics company who's owned by the Bank of Africa. So it all stems from Africa, really. Is from if you run the traces through the companies. So and all these Jews and people have all these stocks in prisons. And it's been going on since the 90s and early 80s. He first started with Beastie Boys. He has an interview on the Breakfast Club. Lior Cohen is his name.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking
So
about.
that dude, right? You know that guy, right? So he works for basically Israel Bank and Africa banks, and he has money in private prisons, and he pushes this music to the children that portrays that lifestyle that leads you into prison, the guns and the violence.
Oh wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy how it all ties together. So, and that's what they call the industry. The industry is doing devilish things, and all the stuff that they're tied to is crazy. Mr. OG in the building. OG, what's going on, Mr. Matt?
What's up, OG? You're welcome to get on the panel if you want to.
Well, yeah, so that's a crazy one that they're funding their pockets in the jail by creating this rap image by the image of these rappers that they choose to put out there that centralize drug use and guns and violence, and then they fill up the prisons. And then their whole thought on this is the prison system isn't bad. Like, you get a free meal, you get an hour of sun a day, you get a cot to sleep. The idea isn't bad. It's just that once you go in and the environment sucks, right? The prisoners make it bad, and the prisoners start doing whatever they do. This is a whole crazy thing that they got going on. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it one bit.
I mean, so like, we're the only place in the world that has privatized prisons. Do you think that we need some kind of prison reform? Because we look at other countries like I think it's Sweden, where like they have the most lax laws on prisons, and they have some of the nicest prisons. So they allow like basically like big beds. They allow like a kitchen, like a free so it's like very like roommate type prison. And then on top of that, they allow them to play video games and things of that nature. So technically they're in jail, but because they have like so much lax laws in their prisons, their reform rate is a lot higher than the U.S. And they actually allowed them, if they're behaving well, they allow them to actually go to work release programs to where they're allowed to work and make money, so that once they're out of prison, they have enough to financially have enough to make it on the outside.
Well, that's what the plan was for prison. Like I said, prison's not a bad place. They offer, like I said, a lot of good programs for people. It's just our prisons have too much violence and too much separation. There's too many gangs, like the blacks and the whites and the Latinos. They're all separated, so you can't put them in the same classroom or shit's going to go down. And like, prison isn't a bad idea. Like, they have libraries. Like, if you're really immature and you're out in the street stabbing people, it's not a bad idea to maybe just sit in a place for 2 or 3 years, read some books, do some exercises, go out in the sun, stay to yourself, learn. That might not be a bad idea. But what happened was there's just too much violence in there where people started getting stabbed and all that. So, like, that's what kind of ruined what they wanted. Definitely, there needs to be reform. Like you got to teach these kids, and like they got to mature. If they don't mature, then you lock them up for good. But
I mean,
yeah,
I think at the same time though, like if you look at the prison structure of what a prison is, it's a lot of the same structure as you see in a American school. And so
yeah,
it's like you think about it, it's very like, okay, like you murdered somebody, so we're gonna send you back to school with your peers. So it becomes like this construct that like you're almost brought down to as like, yes, it's a punishment, but then you're brought back to the construct of like, okay, well, we're gonna, bring you back to your childhood, to where like now like you almost have to deal with the same social norms that you did as a child. And so it like it you, and with that, like you can either thrive or like, still become that child and stay in that child mindset. So like it's very interesting. Shout out
bro.
to DJ Tominsky. What up, my brother? I hope you're doing well.
Prison is like all the great stoners before me, and all the people who eat mushrooms. And prison is a state of mind, my brother. Prison is a state of mind. Prison is no different from school. It's just a different environment. Living when we're violent and you're a little bit older, but there's rules, and you gotta sit there and listen to somebody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but it's the same social construct as a school. You know what I mean? You still have to abide by your peers or your what so-called teachers, which are
Well,
now
prison,
prison guards.
well,
And
you're in prison because you messed up and you broke a law and you hurt somebody or did something wrong. But when you're in school, you're there willfully, hopefully, to learn. Shout out.
Mr.
Real
OG,
quick.
how you doing tonight, my
I'm doing
man?
excellent, DTW. I ain't talked on the panel in a minute, but I just want to kick some facts. First of all, the recidivism rate is a little high with particular crimes, but not all crimes. That's what it's called when you go to prison for something and you get out and then you go back for the same thing. That's called recidivism. Second, y'all really touched on a key point, something that minority groups talk about is the school to prison pipeline. A lot of people get confused with that. When I was in school, if you got in a fight, they pulled y'all apart, they called your parents. Over the last 20 years, if you get in a fight, they call the police, assault charges are filed. So the kids already start getting a record in high school, some even middle school. And then it just proceeds on. So now you're 18, you go before the judge, and your record's supposed to be sealed. So when you turn 18, your record is sealed, but it still shows you were convicted of something. It don't show what. It just shows you were convicted of something unless you go through the expungement. So I really wanted to just touch on that point. The school to prison pipeline is a real thing, and it affects minority communities differently.
I'm sick of it, OG. They need to leave our minorities alone. And it's white Jewish people doing it, bro. Carney wasn't lying.
Actually, nah, I got to disagree. You got to remember the school system is based on the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire was having a skill deficiency where people who didn't have other trade skills and couldn't farm didn't have a job. So they created the school system to make employees, to give every individual a chance of functionality in society. So it's really Nazis. The Nazis created school.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's not a bad thing, to be honest, because societies need people to become strong. Do you wanna do you wanna change the topic and talk about this new capitalist democracy versus these other world systems in place, and how we compare, and how our progress compares to their progress with all these changes we have with different parties compared to one party?
Okay, I'm going to shut down because outside of China, communism has not worked anywhere else. Capitalism is king. OG out.
Oh shoot. Okay. The OG got stuff to talk about. Or
That's it.
he got
Then it's,
he must have had a really good date the other day. So he's been kind of radio silent. So respect that man. But he definitely must have had a really good date. So
shout out. I must have talked too much.
that's hilarious. Damn, shout out to that man. Kaminsky, if you're not busy, bro, like if you wanna jump on here, bro. I know you probably taking passengers right now, so I know you probably busy though. But yeah, I think our our political system is the only one that works because like we're the only ones that we have a way to vote and have a voice and have like freedoms and things of that nature to where we can decide whether what we what we want as a collective is going to work. And I think that's why it's such a beautiful thing to have like a voting chance to be able to vote on something. But I will say that that is only limited to a certain power though, because we do have the like the Supreme Court justices, and a lot of laws that do get put into place then do go to the Supreme Court, and then it depends on the Supreme Court to enact those laws or make those laws available, and depends on whether they're Democratic or Republican. And so I think that's a huge gripe in the system, is because like certain people are going to vote some way and then certain people are going to vote different ways. So
Well, yeah. There was a wise philosopher way back when that said the only way that democracy fails is if the people voting are really stupid. Right? Because you have people that vote for one or two parties, but if you have like a group of voters that's really stupid, then they vote the wrong person in and things can go wrong. And that's how democracy fails compared to a monarchy where it's just like a family of people. So it's passed down bloodline to bloodline.
that's very true. Now, I think that though, because like we have, I don't know if it's true. I mean, I'm not the smartest man in the room, so I'm not gonna attempt to say everything that I know. But I do think because like we did vote in some Republican justices in the Supreme Court. They're kind of standing on business for the Republican Party in the Supreme Court, so they're making some like very strong rulings right now. Which, I mean, let's keep it a buck. Like back in the day, like you wouldn't even really hear about like the Supreme Court like that. It wasn't televised. Like it was like very backdoor, like secretive stuff, and they were like very like honest judges that like were like like we have to look through every single law book and figure out what the actual neutrality of the situation is, to where now I feel like it's a little bit more politicized, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, well, the system's good, but even the Supreme Court can be compromised because there is something in our great United States called packing the court, to where let's just say there's like a decision and there's 6 judges and it's 3-3. You can actually try to get another judge in. Like people do this. I think Trump might have did this. He might have added like 1 or 2 Supreme Courts under his rule, think it was a chick and a guy, just
Yeah,
so
it
that's
was
more conservative. So
yeah,
presidents do that. Like,
Kavanaugh and
yeah,
and
Obama added somebody to the Supreme Court. So presidents will come in and they'll ask Supreme Court members to make it a more conservative Supreme Court, or liberals will come in and add liberal judges and make it more liberal Supreme Court. So yeah, it's still a Supreme Court, but it's leaning already based just on the people ruling themselves. Politics is a dirty game, man. Our system was built
Yeah.
by these people a long time ago, and they gave us the rules and we just play. And to Mr. OG saying, so we need 3 branches. I think we do have 3 branches. We have the House. I'm not smart that way. The House, the Congress, and one other one, right? So that would be the 3 branches we have. And we have checks and balances, right? We have like a whole system set up. So technically, you're right. I don't think we're a democracy. I think we are like a republic.
yeah.
But I think we're the first capitalist country, if I'm right.
3 branches. So the legislative, the executive, and the judicial branches. I don't know if you heard that.
Okay. Yes.
So yeah, like OG said, this is why it's so crazy. I mean, like me, like I really do want to go to law school at some point in my life, but the cases right now that went to the Supreme Court, or I think it was the judicial court, overturned the YSL case with Judge Glanville, because he was making bad rulings and he was trying to basically make his own rulings. And so like the Supreme Court, I think it got up to the Supreme Court to where they were like, yeah, no, like, dude, like as a judge, like you have to be partial and you can't just make your own like rulings and say like, you know, this is law. And yeah, so he you know, it made a new precedent into the law to where like now judges across the United States like now are under fire because, you know, like you can't be partial into a trial. Like, you know what I mean? You can't just be like, you know, I'm the judge, I'm that guy. You know what I mean? So like it's now setting a precedent to where, you know, they might make a new ruling to where like, you know, there might be some new laws about judges making like rulings and that, you know, they can't be so fair. You know what I mean? Who do we got?
I would be in
OG.
favor.
OG is back.
How you doing? Okay, the YSL case is the most fascinating case in the world to me.
That shit's messy.
It's been going on for 2 years. Like they were telling Woody when they gave him the immunity. Most of the stuff people were being accused for, the statute of limitations has ran out. So really all they got left is the 2 murders. So it's been 18 months. Judge Glanville, he didn't get recused for giving bad rulings. He got recused for holding an ex parte meeting with him, the defense attorney, the prosecutor, and a sworn in witness.
That is 100% correct, OG. I've been watching the trial every single day, and I think it is the most nuttiest case. Miss Love is like the most crazy prosecutor.
Did you see when she just started crying in the courtroom?
Yeah, I saw it. I've been watching it for 2 years, bro. Like this is the craziest case that I've seen, and it's a RICO trial. So this is something that like has never been televised. They have never not had one RICO trial.
It's a state RICO.
No, yeah, no.
Usually when you
Usually a RICO is federal, but yeah,
exactly,
you're correct.
and most state cases can be televised. So it's
Mhm.
just, I think when they do the made for TV documentary, it's gonna be the most exciting thing on television. That's what I
So
really.
do you think, like, in my honest opinion, I think this case is going to get dismissed without prejudice, without bias. It's going to get um, it's going to get thrown out. But this is going to be the biggest fuck up in Georgia history, to where like they're looking at this and they're gonna, you know, they're
Did
gonna
you
think twice about having a RICO trial in a state case.
did you hear why the second judge recused herself?
Yeah, she had a conflict of interest, if I'm not mistaken, with
One
a
of the
an,
bailiffs in
yes,
her
yes,
court was
yes.
dating one of the YSL members. That
Hmm.
YSL member was using his lawyer computer to iMessage her.
Yep, yep,
So that's one of the weird rulings that Judge Glanville had. He told that lawyer to write him a 15-page paper about ethics and propriety and stuff, about not letting stuff like this happen. I didn't
yep.
think it was a big deal. And what happens? The next judge recuses herself from the case. She could be called as a witness. If one more judge recuses themselves, this is going to be a case don't no judge want to touch, because you're going to be the judge responsible for letting YSL off the hook. Mixed in with the recusal, I think it's the fourth, if not fifth, request for bail.
Yeah,
He,
and then on top of that, like the biggest thing I think in the case that really sparked the 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 recusals and the judgments against Glanville is that the fact that Glanville tried to lock up a lawyer for, I think it was like 4 months, and
yeah, only doing weekends. It was
yeah,
actually because you can only
Brian
do,
Steele.
yep, you can only do 3 days a week. So he was going to be in jail for 10 weeks. And this is the lead defense attorney for Young Thug. Brian Steele even said, hey, lock me up with him then so we can work on the case together.
Yeah, and he was willing to do it, but I mean, Brian Steele is a very high end attorney in Georgia. He is
Listen,
like the top attorney in
yeah,
next to
unequivocally.
like,
I live out here.
yeah.
Unequivocally, Brian Steele is the best. Well, if you took the defense team, they are literally the best. They're a team of the best defense attorneys in Georgia. The best. Even in the recusal motion, because the judge the lawyer who did it, he was actually Brian Steele before Brian Steele was Brian Steele. Now he done got older and Brian Steele took his place. But the person who wrote the real recusal, he was like, look, this was just judicial wrangling. I knew I was going to have to do it like this. That was going to force this to happen. They are doing a phenomenal job on the defense. If Young Thug gets a bond, he will never stay another day in jail. Y'all think about that.
I mean, think how much money, like, okay, like they're spending millions of dollars a day. Like Young Thug personally himself is spending millions of dollars a month on this case. And I think the quote was that the jurors are literally getting close to maybe $7 to $14 a day, if that, on this trial. And it's happened for 2 years. Like, nobody wants to touch this case. This is so messy.
They've
Like,
already lost 5 alternates.
yeah, it's the wildest case in, and I think this is going to be one of those cases that is going to go to like the Supreme Court again, and it's going to be the one of those cases that it's gonna make a Supreme Court precedent to where like they're gonna be like, okay, no more RICOs in state cases. Like this is too messy.
You don't think it's going to be a mistrial?
Oh, I
Oh
definitely
yeah,
think it's gonna be a
it's
mistrial.
definitely gonna be a mistrial.
What's going to
That's
happen if it's a mistrial? They're going to redo it another
They
4
They're
years.
gonna
no,
try.
you
They're
got
they're
to
gonna
think.
try, but they're gonna fire Miss Love. They're gonna fire all the prosecutors.
Listen,
They're gonna.
this is the most expensive case in Georgia history, and it ended in a mistrial. So we're not talking about what Young Thug is spending on his lawyer. We're talking about the state of Georgia.
So what happens to Young Thug during all this time? He just stays locked up?
He's still
No,
locked up
they're
because
Is he free?
does.
Can he
Nope,
go
no.
in the
He's
studio?
he's been locked up, but he after all this stuff is gonna come out, he will. They're gonna set a motion to get him bond because this is getting so messy.
yeah, but
And
this is judicial impropriety. So they're like, look, you said this about him, you said this about him, but y'all the one messing up. You gotta let him out.
You think so? They're going to let him after the mistrial to give him bond, you guys think?
absolutely, I think after so many fuck ups, like it's finally gonna hit a judge's desk, and they're gonna be like, okay, there's been so many fuck ups. There's been so much money spent, and not and let it be known this is taxpayer dollars that is being spent. You know what I mean? This isn't like like a private account. Like
Shout out
this is
OG.
this
His
is
tax dollars
taxpayer
go.
dollars. So like if like somebody's gonna look into that and be like, okay, dude, like we're spending so many taxpayer dollars. Like this man needs to go free until he gets an actual impartial trial to where there's a judge and a jury that can actually um, try this case. But let it be known, there is no jury that has not seen this on TV already and that cannot be impartial.
So
So
let me ask you guys a
Hold on,
question.
let me answer that real quick to be more concise. What I think is going to happen, you're going to see a dissolution of the RICO case, and you're going to still see the two people who admitted to murder charged with murder. They just no longer have a link tying it to Young Thug, and since they can't tie it to Young Thug, they can't tie it to YSL as a whole. And Cleveland will be the most dangerous street in Atlanta again.
but the strongest I'm sorry, Scott. The strongest or the strongest charge that they have on this case is the or the murder charges against Young Thug. That's the only I've read through the affidavit for the defense, and the strongest thing that the only thing that they can really try to sink or swim Young Thug on is the murder charges.
Well, to be
And
more concise, is renting the car that's suspected in
yes,
being
yes, yes. But there's no way after the whole Woody thing happened, bro. There's no way like there's no case. There's nothing that they can tie him to. Like Woody is a smoking gun, and Woody he literally he said like what I mean, I killed Nut, and then what I mean, like it's fucking all bad.
So what do you guys think the case has gone so sideways? Besides, what are the reasons? Is it incompetence, or we're trying to like make the child look a certain way? Was it on purpose? Oh, what's you guys' opinion?
I think a lot of people is not gonna like this comparison. First of all, rest in peace to Orenthal J. Simpson. But I think the same thing that went on with his murder trial, whether people think he is guilty or innocent, he was ultimately acquitted. But what happened was the police was so focused on pinning it on OJ that they ruled out any other suspect. I think the same thing is happening in Atlanta. They were so focused on proving the YSL conspiracy that they never stopped to think maybe he let them drive this car he rented. Because what they tying him to the rental car is all the people suspected in the killing after it was done, all of them were calling Young Thug phone. That's all they got. It's just them calling his phone. So I think maybe they're like, oh, he rented the car, he can get in trouble for this. So that's why they were worried, not so much YSL is this criminal street gang. So
Are you
Yeah, I
guys
don't.
are you guys heavy in the rap culture?
Oh yeah.
super heavy.
Why does it seem like all of a sudden, more recently, that they've been going after rappers that's been killing people in their songs? Started in Chicago, but now it's just kind of been everywhere.
I mean,
Well,
I
it's
think
like all popular music, whatever makes money, everyone's gonna copy. So that's why you've seen this proliferation of drill rap. Before drill rap, it
I'll be
was
right back, yo.
before gangster rap, it was conscious rap, and before conscious rap, it was dance music. So I think what they say, music is cyclic. It just comes in cycles. Something new will come along. So
Shout out to rap music, though. I want to. There's been a lot of good rap music that's been produced. A lot of good lyrics. I'm from the West Coast. I like my favorite rapper is Tupac. His rap style, the way he speaks when he's rapping, what he's saying, what he's rapping about, his poetry. He looked up to Machiavelli. He read the book, The Prince. He wasn't stupid. He was smart.
phenomenal book, by the
Let's
way.
go.
A lot of people don't know Machiavelli the Prince was actually a posthumously released book that was compiled from all his notes during his exile. A lot of people kind of obfuscate that fact because he wrote the what's it called, 48 Laws of Power, however that the art. He wrote the Art of War. No, that was Sun Tzu. Whatever
Yeah.
Machiavelli wrote before the Prince that he was most known for, but then he got exiled. That's why he came with the rule: never outshine the master. This, that, and the third. But then when he went to his exile, that's when he wrote the Prince, and I still didn't understand that book. It was incredibly dense.
Yeah, if everybody's wondering what we're talking about, it's a book by a guy named Machiavelli back in the day, and it was basically a book for a prince to become a king and how to rule the world. And it's a very interesting 90-page book, and it's just filled with shiesty shit. It's just a book teaching you how to be a snake and how to come up in the world if you have no care for others. But it's also a cautionary tale because if you follow these rules, you're going to end up with a lot of enemies when you grow older, but you might be successful. So a lot of people, it's like the rap thing or like the Scarface thing, right? You come up, you cut people off, make a lot of money, but in the end, you have a lot of people looking for you. Very interesting book.
My bad.
OG, are you a mumble rap fan?
Well, first of all, shout out to the GOAT, Lil Yachty. But I don't call it mumble rap. Just because y'all didn't understand it, maybe they were speaking too fast, maybe they obscure some of the words in order to match with the beat. It's like there's an artist coming out of Detroit named Veeze, Veeze. I think he's probably one of the best artists to come out in the last 10 years. And he actually perfected what these young kids are doing when they rap now. But like they're really making the vocals part of the instrument. So what he'll just do, he'll go in while the beat playing is just hum, and then he'll write the words to match the hum. And when I say just hum, he literally records himself humming over the beat, how he feels like he should sound, and then he'll punch in. He'll just add the words. Like, that's why some of the words do sound mumbled, because they wasn't words, they were hum. Like, it's a phenomenal way of creating and making music. In Detroit, Milwaukee, that whole Midwest sound, no distance West Coast. South done had it for a while, but I really think the music is going to transition. to the middle of the country when it comes to rap.
I don't hate on rap based on geography. Every culture of rap has its things. Down south has it's good for something. New York rap's good for something.
Well,
Shit, Canadian rap's good for something. They're all great.
Let me push back on you, Scott. Do you think country music is dead?
Depends who you're asking. If you're asking a bunch of white middle-aged people, no. If you're asking the internet, yeah, because the internet doesn't really listen to country.
Hey, I love me some country music.
I don't think
But
so. There's a lot of
most white
transitions right
people,
now.
Y'all are listening to people prior to 2000. I don't think a good country songs came out since 2010.
Let me ask you a question: Is Jelly Roll country?
No,
I consider him more hip hop.
Okay, then no, country's dead. Unless you're listening to Post Malone, but that's
I
about
like-
as country as you might get, like
Post
in
Malone
the mainstream.
considered itself pop.
I know, but like that's about as country as you'll get in the mainstream is like Post Malone. Like that's about as country as it gets in the mainstream.
I like the new country. I think the new country is more country than country's ever been. But
let me ask LG a question and Jared Noel. Have you guys heard of Garth Brooks?
Yeah.
Where are the bodies?
Garth Brooks, bro, he's the man. Thunder Road. Tell me that's not a great song.
But he's mostly performing greatest hits. Like I said, the early 2000s, there hasn't been a good country song in 15, 20 years.
I haven't listened to country. You're probably right.
And there's never been a comparable country artist to the late great Johnny Cash.
Keith Urban might have been the last big country artist I heard of.
Oh yeah, I heard of Keith Urban.
I mean, come on, like Jason Aldean, like that's not country.
I don't know.
I think
I don't really like Jason. Now, okay, I don't think it's there. I forgot Morgan Wallen. He do got a couple good songs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some like country artists
for your music genre, DTW.
Johnny Cash was the man. Let's not skip back Johnny Cash for a second. Let's talk about Johnny Cash's music. That fool will go up there, pilled out, freaking tweaked with his little guitar, just doom 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 doom. His little bassist behind him just doom 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 doom. His little drummer just the same beat. Dude, just lighting the house on fire, having all white people dancing, bro, breaking all kinds of floors.
You know how good the music got to be for white people to get up and dance?
Because that's one of the most fires, has some of the most.
But no, I was talking to somebody, and what they were saying is the reason a lot of people feel country music is dying because country music wasn't just a genre. It was a particular type of music, a particular tempo to the beats. It was even particular instruments that were used, you know. And they're like, it strayed so far away from that. In my opinion, it just went home because nobody talks about it. But country music is slow rock and roll.
I don't know. You got to think. I don't know, man. I can break down country. You do know that country has different subgenres. Like there's pop country, rap country, and then there's like ballad country. Ballad country is absolutely terrible. It's like the crying love songs. And then like the pop country would be like your drinking songs. That's like like those kind of songs.
My big brother made me listen to country rap.
That was a thing. That was a thing big.
For
That was a big thing for a minute, bro.
5 minutes. It was probably the worst music, in my opinion, I ever heard. But I just wasn't.
You don't like Shy Boozy, his new song?
I think that is one of the artists my brother had me listen to. I mean, it's good.
Bro,
it's good
that shit hits, bro. Like if I was in the club with a woman, I'd be, you know what I mean? I'd be bumping and grinding with that song right there.
No, you would. No, you don't do that. You don't do that bumping and grinding stuff, DTW.
He does the boot, scoot, and boogie. What are you talking about?
Exactly. That's what I meant. Excuse my French.
So no, slow rock. I think rock is way different than country because then like you have ballad rock, And you have like rock is just interesting because there's so much rock too. It's broken down into so many interesting things.
Y'all ever been to like an actual like country bar though?
Yes. And country bars. Fucking rock.
Line dancing, that's what I'm thinking of. Line dancing bars are the shit.
Bro, it's so different in Texas. Like when I used to live in Texas, like that shit was different, bro. Like I didn't know that Texas was like so different from the United States, but like you could literally like bring your own beer to the bar and they don't give a fuck, bro. They're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you got a 12 pack? Cool."
Oh, that mean that bar
Pretty
have no
nice.
liquor license.
Nah, bro, it's allowed in Texas, bro.
Cause like out here, because we have full nude dancers, we call them dancers, or if the club wants to be 18 and over, then they can't sell alcohol there. So what the clubs would do is say, look, we don't have a liquor license, but we won't prohibit you from bringing your own liquor in the establishment. But you got to bring it in the bottle. Then you can't take the bottle out with you. And all they do is just give you cups and provide Coca-Cola.
Mm.
But, all the strip clubs we got, it was only 2 that was 18 and under. So,
Yeah, I don't really frequent those type of bars, but you know what I mean? Like the one in Texas though, like, you know what I mean? Like it was great. You know what I mean? Like I was in Wichita, Texas, and they have like some of the most hospitable people and the best bars out there. That it's literally they have signs like bring your own beer, like you know what I mean, like, and then once you run out of beer, you just buy beer there. So
Sounds like a small town kind of thing. That's pretty cool.
yeah, no, I had so much fun out there, bro. I lived out there for like probably a year.
Oh shit. So you were a Texas boy for a little bit. How was it? You liked it?
Oh, I love Texas. The culture is just so much different, bro, than anywhere in the United States. I mean, Texas, like a lot of the Bible Belt states, man, like they're so nice, bro. Like they like people will invite you into their homes. They'll cook for you. They'll give you a beer. You know what I mean? Like it's just the most hardworking Americans that I've ever met, and they will literally give the shirt off their back for you, and like no questions asked. They don't care who you are. I was just somebody traveling through, and they will just do every single thing for you. They will. If you're looking for a
hey,
job,
real
they'll give
quick,
you
'cause it's getting
they'll
late.
they'll give you a job. They'll literally, you know what I mean. They'll do everything, man. I love the South. I have a deep love for the South.
Southern hospitality is the best, man. But it's been great chatting with you guys. I'm finna go and get me some sleep for the morning. Y'all have a wonderful night. Great stream, DTW.
Hey, thank you, OG.
Oh gee, thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Yeah, you have a
Yep.
good night.
Florida's crazy, Mr. Maverick. That place is just insane. I like it. I like Florida. It's always getting hit by shit. It's always getting hit by water and typhoons, and their governor's crazy, and they're suing Disney, and everybody's crazy down there. I think weed's becoming legal or something. So let's go Florida. But yeah,
Let's
they're pretty
let's not
crazy.
let's not forget like the some of the baddest women are in Florida. Like
Really?
oh yeah, bro. Like the some of the baddest women, man. Like the women that that the models are down in Florida, bro. Like if you want
True.
like the baddest chick, bro, you go to Florida.
Miami's fucking crazy. You're right.
Like yeah, exactly. That's where I went. You know what I mean? I went to South Beach. You know what I mean? For like a weekend. And oh my God, I've never seen so many beautiful women in my life.
I
Like,
never been to Florida, but I heard the weather sucks because it's very humid. I don't know if it's
yeah,
true
no,
though.
It does. It's like it's bipolar out there, bro. Like so, like you go out there and like it's super nice during the day, and then like during the night, it's either like storming or it's like super like tropical hot. Like you know what I mean? So like like literally in my hotel, like I couldn't wear a t-shirt like the whole time at night because it was just so hot, so humid. Like so like it's such a bipolar state.
Yeah, Florida has some OG, some ocean grown weed, some Florida OG. Shout out that strain. That shit is absolute top tier. It came over to California. It's in a lot of strains that I'm growing right now. This Triangle Kush I have has that Florida OG in it. It's good. Shout out Florida, doing their thing.
All right, well, I think I'm gonna wrap this stream up for tonight. I think we've been on for an hour and 30 minutes. It's pretty good cutting off point. You know what I'm saying? I think we did good. See about the numbers tomorrow, but you know what I mean. I really enjoyed the conversation tonight. Like you know what I mean. We're not talking about like drama. We're talking about just real life, like real topics. You know what I mean? And that's super good. Like that's the more topics that I want to get into. That's the stuff that I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about all this drama. You know what I mean? I want to talk about real topics, real conversations with real people who want to have those conversations. So, Scott Hall, you're a gem, my brother. Thank you for being on, man.
Shout out to the underground. Shout out to the DJ Underground. Shout out Wordplay. Shout out DTW.
And shout out. We need the drama, Randy Lee. Oh man, Randy Lee, I haven't seen you in a long time, man. Hope you're doing well, dude. This is the first time I've seen you in a long time, dude. We're just about to end the stream, but like, yeah, no, I mean, drama's good. It it's not always good, I'm trying to build this channel from the ground up, And shout out to all the 89 people that have subscribed. You know what I mean? We are growing slow and steady. I'd rather have real viewers over people who are just going to unsubscribe tomorrow. So, you know what I mean? Shout out. We're almost at 100. So, like, shout out to the people that have subscribed and are staying loyal to the DTW, the fam who want to be here and enjoy content and have topics and be here for sometimes drama, but real topics. So appreciate it, every single one of y'all. And I can't thank y'all enough. So
And Ski, if I see you, it's on site. Watch yourself. Coming for you. Next.
Yes, Randy, yes, we will talk about some streams like that. I got one of my homies. He's gonna come on, bro, and we're gonna talk about that too. I don't know if Scott got kicked out or he just had to prematurely leave. So, but shout out to Scott, man, for being a great co-host tonight. You know what I mean? Shout out to that man. He means well. He gets a lot of slack on other people's channels, but shout out to him, and he likes to have a conversation. So, but yes, Randy, we will have some crazy stuff. Can we talk about Mr. Olympia and bodybuilding? Sure, bro. We'll have all kinds of topics, man. Like like tonight we had it ended up in the RICO trials and law and all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna have all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Let me screenshot some of your topics because you seem like you're interested in that type of stuff. So and maybe we can do a live around that stuff. And yeah, definitely, bro. So, but all right, y'all. It's almost 12 o'clock here, so I'm gonna farewell y'all to have a good night.
And I will see y'all probably tomorrow. And we will have a live around, I'd say 9:30 to 10. I will post it. I will post it on the StreamYard, and then we will make sure that I schedule it because I know people like that, and we'll make it to where it is public so people can prepare and kind of jump in and be ready for it because people don't like late surprises. So, but all right, guys, it is almost 12 here, so I wish y'all a farewell. Thank y'all for tuning in to DTW, and I hope y'all have a blessed night. And thank y'all again. Thank you.